Hey everyone, I'm just going to give it a moment for people to get in. Can you confirm that you can hear me all right? I was suspended from Twitter 5 times today. 5 times. I think I got that right. I might even be suspended for a sixth time. I don't know. We're just going to wait for a few more people to show up. I can't believe it. I was at the provincial court of British Columbia today to cover Jonathan Yaniv. I'll call him that here on YouTube because YouTube has yet to kick me off for naming someone the name that the court of my country refers to them as. Jessica Jonathan Yaniv is how this individual was referred to and addressed in court today. Apparently, Twitter will refuse that. Even when I'll get into the details of what happened here now, I guess. I'm just going to swipe through my computer so I can show you the offending tweets that got me kicked off. I'm outraged over a few things. I'm outraged over the fact that I've been sitting in this location for about an hour when I was suspended only 3 times. I started by saying, this is hilarious. I've been suspended 3 times. It was a hat trick, I called it. And I laughed about how the fact was that I'd probably have to refilm it because I might even be banned from Twitter for a 4th time by the time I finished filming that video. Well, turned out to be the case. And then it turned out to be the case again, and now we're at the 5th time, probably the 6th eventually. So I just said, screw it. I'm going to do a YouTube Live because this is the only way I can get the message out about what happened today at the British Columbia Provincial Court. I'm going to show you the first tweet that had me kicked off. And forgive me for being a boomer and taking a picture of a computer screen. This was the first tweet. This was the next one. This was the third one. This was the 4th one. And this one was one of 2, as you can see. This one was from August 15th. It wasn't even from today. But all of a sudden, today, it was too much for Twitter. Here was the last one. Jessica Jonathan Yaniv is at the BC Provincial Court right now. Yaniv faces 2 counts for violating the Firearms Act. The maximum sentence a judge can hand down is 6 months in prison for each count. I'll be live tweeting it as I'm able. Now, this is the interesting part. This is what got me banned, by saying Jessica Jonathan Yaniv. That is quite literally, and you can look this up, there's lots of people that have tweeted these court documents. This is who was attending court. It was their legal name. There was no lie in that tweet, not even misgendering someone, I would say is not a lie, but there was nothing factually incorrect about that. But the SJWs at Twitter, at their truth department, deemed fit to ban me 5 times. I never thought I'd be the person to be banned from Twitter, but now, well, I was banned 5 times. Now, this isn't even the most egregious thing that I'm upset about today. What I'm upset about is that I was at the Provincial Court of British Columbia, and I waited outside of the court. Once everything wrapped up, I was waiting outside with a few other members of the media to scrum Yaniv, just like we would with the CFO of Huawei, just like we would with any senator, like Mike Duffy, when he was pushed through the press after he was leaving court. It's a pretty basic thing to expect someone who breaks the law, who carries illegal weapons and then goes to court, to have them face both justice and the media. Very basic principle about an open democracy and open court. Well, today, that did not happen. And I'll get into more detail about it later, but effectively, we waited outside for about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. And I went back into the courthouse. I had to catch a flight. I'm at the airport right now, and my plane is probably leaving without me. I had to get leaving, so I went into the courthouse to both retrieve my devices and to see if Jessica Jonathan Yaniv was still in there. Now, I got to the front of the security lineup, and the security guard says, "Oh, the person you're looking for is gone." Yeah, Jessica Yaniv left. A while ago, actually. That's what he said. I couldn't record in the courthouse. Normally, I would have my spy cam with me, recording everything to corroborate this. But the sheriff working at the Provincial Court of British Columbia told me Jessica Jonathan Yaniv, I can say here on YouTube, was gone. Well, I was filming this video talking about how many times I've been banned for misgendering this creep. Keep in mind, this is someone who targets children, who speaks to them in a sexual manner. This is someone who targets immigrant women to throw them out of business, all for personal glory because they won't wax his balls. At the end of the day, Twitter can't hide those facts. Jonathan Yaniv is a man, someone with rage-fueled, testosterone-fueled fits of rage, someone who assaults journalists, wanted to do that to me today, in fact. This is someone who Twitter is standing up for, and it's someone who law enforcement in Canada is also standing up for. They hid the fact that Jonathan Yaniv was taking refuge inside of the building, and once everyone left, someone stayed behind. We had someone stay behind, and they reported to me while I'm here filming these videos that an RCMP officer, an hour after the fact, shepherded Yaniv out to their car. Senators don't get that kind of treatment. CFOs of companies don't get that. International companies don't get that kind of treatment. But Jonathan Yaniv, the most vile creature in Canada, perhaps, someone who targets the weak, the poor, the children, they're worth protecting. They're worth banning journalists from major platforms for. They're worth sending an RCMP security guard to protect. They're worth having sheriffs lie to journalists to mislead them, to get them to leave so they don't do their job. This is where Canada is now. Now I'm going to have a larger video about this, about everything that happened today on YouTube, and I'll publish it exclusively there tomorrow, where I'll walk through each of my tweets, why I was banned, what Twitter said about it, because there's a whole back end about us talking to Twitter, trying to figure out why we're banned, even though these statements were blatantly true. There was no misleading thing about it. There was no factual errors about it. There was actually one spelling mistake in it. But that's not a reason to be banned, I don't think. So I'm going to post this full video on YouTube tomorrow where I'll go through each tweet and explain why, or maybe pontificate or try and figure out how Jonathan Yaniv has the law enforcement and the public square of Canada and the world, frankly, wrapped around his fat little fingers.